I want to build a time machine. Over the last 20 years I've lived, the 17 I've played piano, the last 2 have been the hardest. I've always focused on how much I've grown, and I've always taken someone for granted. Mum, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. And she taught me about a very valuable lesson too, and it's to not let others take me for granted. You know, every time I come home from a shit day of uni, like when we have to do Shakespeare, it's always my favorite cooking. Pureed tomato with beef and potatoes, pork and cabbage dumplings, chive pancakes. It's like you knew what I wanted to eat that day. They say mother knows best, and I think that's true. If I had a time machine, I would go back and eat it over and over again. Growing up, I've always been made fun of for my weight. But I think the biggest punch to my self-esteem would be when my mom would say things like, "You're getting fat," or "You're getting chubby." I mean, Dad would say those things too, but he was like, so it was pure hypocrisy and a bit hard to take offense to. But when Mom says things like, "You're getting fat," or "You're getting chubby," it would hurt like needles. Not a bullet though. A bullet is when I would get 85% on a math test, and she says, "Well, why not 90%? And then when I get 90% on a math test, she says, "Well, why not 100%? And this one fucking time, I actually got 100%. And this woman, she says, "Yeah." Eventually though, I understood. It's my culture. When she says things like, "You're getting fatter," "You're getting chubbier," it really means be more healthier, be more happier, eat more healthily. If I had a time machine, I would go back and make sure she doesn't say those things to me that way. But I don't have a time machine, so I tell her not to say it to my younger sister. Disneyland is meant to be the happiest place in the world, but one incident made me the most terrified. When I was 6, a week before I moved to Australia, I went to off-brand Disneyland in China. It was amazing, although I don't remember any of it. On the way home though, I do remember I had an injury on my right foot which prevented me from walking fully properly. And Mum and I were about to catch a train with 700 people. As soon as those doors opened, I was pushed to the ground by a stampede of people. They stepped on my head, my arms, my leg, my hand, my feet. Tears began to form in my eyes until a warm embrace clutches me. My mom was shielding me from the people stepping on me. I don't remember much more from that night, aside from a very angry Chinese lady yelling at a full but quiet carriage. And on the way home, on the taxi, when I asked you, "Why were you screaming at those people?" you said, "因为你是我的孩子." Because you are my child, I can't let them do that to you. If I had a time machine, I would have never gotten that foot injury or gone to offline Disneyland, but I'm glad I did. Because that was the moment I realized I had the best mum I could ever ask for. My classmates know me as Eric, but those who really know me knows that's an alias. It's no different from being called Hubert the Executioner or Prince Louis. It's kind of funny actually. I didn't even know that my English name, Eric, had a meaning until my dramaturg, Alison, went, "Oh my god, Eric, I just found out, I did a quick Google search and found out that your name actually means eternal ruler in Old German." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's actually pretty close to the Chinese name meaning, Wang protector of the galaxy. I know, it's pretty fucking cool, right? Well, it wasn't always the case. I remember coming home one day and I was really, really bullied. And I just cried to my mum, and I cried to her, I don't want to eat Chinese food anymore. I don't want to speak Chinese. I don't want to have a Chinese name. Obviously, I ended up keeping Wang Qiyu, protector of the galaxy, because I wasn't going to let Jacob Smith and William Tiffer bully me out of my government name. Dad was very much against the idea. But Mum, she asked me if I wanted it changed officially. She's always put me above our family values and traditions. She's always put me before anything else, anyone else, including herself. Do you know a single person like that? Do you know an Asian woman who was born from the most conservative country in the world, who supports her son doing an acting degree and supports him being gay? Because I know her and she's my mum. If I had a time machine, I would go back and do everything with you again. Even if it's laundry and taxes or Shakespeare, I would still want to be there. Oh, and of course Dad will be there too.